Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to talk about the worst and most disappointing books that I've read this year. I do have to say that they are more than I was expecting. It's not that I have read like less worse books this year, but I've read a good chunk of like disappointing books. So we're going to talk about those. These are kind of in an order, like the disappointing ones, so, but the worst one, those are definitely in order. So I'll let you know once we get there. But let's just start with the disappointments, okay? These are basically books that I was expecting something and didn't got it. But it wasn't just because of my own expectations, okay? They were just like this feeling that I was just like, oh, what a letdown. So the first one is going to be this Splinter Silence. What is this book, honestly? This is marketed as like a virus comes out of nowhere and starts killing people again after just almost wiping up the entire like adult community of the ship. The thing is, I should have suspected because, you know, once there are no adults around, it's going to be deeply rooted in YA weirdness. And sadly it was. There was such a weird focus on this, in this love triangle that I didn't understand. And it was so weird and so creepy. And for some reason, the main character was in charge. And she did such a bad job at it. Like, I understand that it's a very weird situation and you might be like freaking out a bit. But like, stop thinking about just fucking this dude and maybe just start saving people. Just a thought, you know, you're in a ship stranded in the middle of nowhere, but just a thought. It made me wanting to stop reading this at 70%. I just didn't care at all. How was this going to unfold? Like, and that is so weird for me, but just like, no. Then I have here Hell on Mars. This is a novella, and I was expecting a lot out of it, honestly. This is kind of somewhere my fault. This is also about some kind of virus, you don't know, but basically there's this station on Mars and they request for help. This is a book set after the Cold War, if I remember correctly, I think. Or was it Second World War? I don't know, but somewhere there. It is actually more advanced than it's supposed to be. So the thing is, it's kind of a zombie type of book, and that wasn't a problem. The problem is, this was literally a prologue to the story. Like, there's nothing in this book besides going to this base and being attacked. Absolutely nothing else. And yes, I'm going to spoil this. I'm sorry, but it just made me so mad. It's just discovered that the bad guy that is in this base is actually a Nazi. What a reveal. It just made me so mad. I'm sorry. It's just like such a cheap way of being just like, yeah, he's bad because he's a Nazi. The only thing that could have made it worse would have been the fact that maybe he had like a swastika tattooed on him and someone saw it and then was just like, oh. Maybe that would be worse even. But like, it's just, it felt super stupid. Like, there was no need for that in this book. Like, no need at all. Such a disappointment. I was hoping to really love this series because there are so many entries on this and I'm so sad to be bashing it up. But I was really disappointed on it. Like, I was just so disappointed on it. And I'm really so sad because I really wanted like some kind of survival sci-fi to love. Like, I wanted it so badly. Then this is really just like a disappointment, like that disappointing book, and that's it. This is the LeftHanded Booksellers of London. I have already gotten rid of my copy, actually. There's nothing bad about it, but it's actually YA, and I just didn't think that it was YA, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I was expecting so much more, and it ended up being just like very superficial, and it also was a standalone. And it felt like it could have been a series. Like, it just felt like a chapter of a TV show. Like, you finish it and you're just like, oh, sure, that's it. Like, of an anthology. It's just, I was so meh about it. Like, so meh. And I had, like, so much high hopes because you have the red-handed booksellers, they fight, and the left-handed are just, like, the really smart one. the really smart ones. And I don't know. I was just suspecting a lot. And I'm pretty sad because my first Garth Nix book, and I really want to read Savriel, that entire series. But after reading this, I'm just like, am I sure that I want to read that? I don't know. Then I have here Spin. Again, there's nothing wrong with this book. Like, I didn't find anything wrong with it. But it just really disappointed me because I thought that it was going to be like a hard sci-fi book. This is marketed as one, like this is sci-fi, this is the peak of sci-fi. It's actually more about the personal relationships of the main character. There's, what was he saying? This girl riding a bicycle that came out all the time. And I was just like, I was so annoyed by it. Like, I just want to know about everything else. What is this? But the thing is, the parts where we had like this hard sci-fi stuff, that was great. But besides that, not at all. Like, I'm a plot-driven reader. So when you're promising me a plot-driven book and then you end up with something weird, character-driven, I'm going to be disappointed. And I really was. I was hoping to love that book, honestly. There's nothing wrong with more character-driven sci-fi or more philosophical sci-fi. I've discovered that I love that, actually. But this one just wasn't it. I do have to say that I still have my physical copy. It's just over there, and I didn't feel like grabbing it because it's the only physical book that I have left. Then I have here The Silent Patient. I have also gotten rid of this book. This is a thriller book about a woman that was accused of murdering her husband, and she hasn't said a word since then, basically. And this therapist starts treating her, and he kind of becomes obsessed with helping her and figure out what happened, basically. I saw that twist coming for so long. Like, I don't know, maybe from page 30, I was just like, oh, I know. So, I get it. It's an okay thriller if you don't see the twist coming. But if you see that, you're just like waiting for it to happen. Like, it's like, yeah, come on, let's just get going now. And there wasn't like anything else besides that. So I was just like, okay. I've been really harsh with thrillers lately, but I don't know. This one, the most meh of them all. Like, and last year I read like My Lovely Wife. Was that the name? And that was super meh also. But at least it was a fun time, you know? This one was just completely meh for me. Then I have here Starship Troopers. I read this one this year as part of my Space Opera September TBR. And I loved the movie. And I remember reading this book, but I didn't remember it being this bad. I don't know, maybe it was because I wasn't just like really paying that much attention of it, or I wasn't that aware. But oof, it's one of those classics that really didn't age well at all. There's a lot of misogyny here and there. And sometimes, you know, because it's old, I can go past it. Like, it's just like, okay, you know, old times, whatever. Like, for example, in Rendezvous with Rama, I can pass that. Like, I'm able to be just like, okay, yeah, her tits are floating in space and he's looking at them, but just like, okay, like, that's a funny tip. Like, it's just like, yeah, he's looking at her boobs. But in this one, it's just like men and women had to be separated because men they weren't sure that they could contain themselves after so long. That's not funny, dude. Like, that's not, like, that is so different, those two, you know? So I can go past that in Rendezvous with Rama, but not in here. Like, it turned my experience a lot. Nothing happened in this book, even though it's basically a criticism towards, you know, the military in general. I much prefer the movie. Much prefer it. Like, so much better than this one. And even though it's kind of ridiculous sometimes, so much better than this one. So much better. Then I have here another thriller. This is The Last House at Needles Street. Again, another twist that I really didn't like. And it didn't feel as obvious as in The Silent Patient, but there's something here with mental illness that I just don't like. When mental illness is used in books, I sometimes just like, because you can do it like pretty like right and pretty wrong. And for me, this was a wrong one. Like, it didn't stick the landing at all. Like, I understand what it was trying to accomplish, but no. Not for me. I'm very happy that people are enjoying it in general. This seems to be like a pretty unpopular opinion, like mostly everyone is liking this one. But it's not for me. Like, it's not for me. You know what? I have like 2 more to talk about, but those aren't important. I'm going to talk about my worst books of this year. And I'm going to start by the Final Girl support group. And this is going to make me fucking cry. Because last year, when I did these videos, 2 of the Grady Hendrix books that I read were my best books of 2020. They were my best friend's Exorcism and the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which I've reread recently, by the way. I'm rereading it right now. And I love it. And I can acknowledge that they have like some problematic stuff, but I love them either way. This was so boring. And I wasn't expecting that from a Grady Hendrix book, because I just love his books. What happened here? I do feel like I'm not alone in this, because a lot of people that know that enjoy his previous books didn't really like this one. And it pisses me the hell up that this won this year's best horror, because there's another book that did it much better, like the Final Girl trope, and that is My Heart is a Chainsaw, was so much better than this, and I don't understand how the other one won. Well, I know, because it's a popular book. Dude, this story didn't make any sense. Like, the first part is super engaging, super interesting. You're just in there and you're just like, okay, a group of final girls. This girl is super trust-torn. This girl is just like super bad and she's going through a lot. She has always felt like Hunter her entire life. But then something happens and she's just like, okay, I'm going to save everyone. Why? Like, she's always just like, I don't care about these people. I only care about myself. I'm going to save myself. And suddenly she's just like, sure, she'll save everyone. And none of the characters felt different to me. Like, every single one of them were the same. Which is a criticism that I see often about this author, but I do not agree with until now. What happened here? And then it all turns into this weird chase, and the ending was super bad in my opinion. I'm just so pissed about this book in general. Like, this is one of the few books that I'm just like extremely disappointed, and I thought they were not good. This is not good. And it pisses me off so much because he is one of my favorite authors. What happened here? I don't know. Probably one of the worst books that I've ever read in my life. Like, I couldn't even finish it because it's so bad. This is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. The thing is, Riley Sager is definitely not the author for me. I have one book left by him, Final Girls. By the way, I always thought Riley Sager was a woman. And I recently discovered that he is definitely not. But I still have Final Girls. I will read it soon and decide if I just want to get rid of all of his books and just never read them, because they are definitely not for me. But this book, oh, holy fuck. It's basically about these murders happening in campus, and then this girl decides that she's going to visit her family, I believe it was, and she just decides that with a fucking killer, she's just going to go with this fucking stranger in the car. I hate stupid characters. Like, I like them when it's a satirical stupid, you know? Something like My Heart's a Chainsaw, when you know what is happening is a horror slasher book, you know? But then you have this and it's just pure stupidity. This girl, this main character, is probably the stupidest one that I've ever followed in my fucking life. Like, not a fucking single decision was right. What is wrong with your fucking head? Like, I do not give a fuck about the ending because I've seen how it ends. I don't give a fuck. It's just stupid. And it feels stupid while you're reading it. So if you're not rooting for the character to fucking survive, what's the point? Like, what's the point? Because there's a difference here between, for example, the book You, where you are just like really grossed by Joe, but low-key you're wanting him to kill her. Like in the first book, you're just like, this girl is so fucking annoying, you know? And that makes sense because you're in the mind of the fucking killer. You're meant to feel like that. But then you're following her. I cannot forget the fucking scene. Like, that made me being just like, okay, I'm not fucking finishing this. When she's at the diner, she already knows that this guy is the killer, and she's just like, okay, I really need to call my boyfriend and ask for help. She does one smart thing that when she calls him, she's not just like, oh my god, help me, he's going to kill me, but she's just using the code. That's okay. But then she's in a diner. This lady comes in, drops something on her so she can talk with her on private. And the waitress is just like, hey, do you need help? And she debates with herself, being just like, oh no, I'm fine, don't worry. Are you like mentally ill? Because if not, I don't understand. Like, you could have told her, being just like, you know, sure, but please, I will still go in the car, but just call the police. Tell them that I'm in distress, please, but I don't want him to attack us, whatever. But all the decisions that were made here were so stupid. Like, this book is so fucking dumb in general. Like, I don't think I even rated it, because I was just like, this is bad. Or maybe 2 stars. Maybe 2 stars. This was so fucking stupid. I just don't want to talk about this one anymore. Fuck it. I'm probably not going to read anything else by this author. Like, I will try Final Girls because I own it. So I will read it now that I fucking own it. But I just don't understand the hype behind this author. Like, I feel like there are so many more, like, better thriller authors out there. I just don't understand the hype behind this one. Like, I just don't understand. But yeah. What was your worst book of this year? I'm very curious, like, because I know that, oh no, I didn't change him. They should have been better to just fit with my rage. But please, what was the worst book you read this year? Or some of the most disappointed ones? Please just let me know down in the comments below. But, as always, I will see you in my best books of the year video coming next. Bye.